Hey Emily, it's exciting to have you as part of this. And when we were thinking about the speaker list, I really wanted to kind of reach out to you and get your feedback. You're so actively engaged in the retail experience, but at the same time, your approach is nimble, agile, and I thought that the audience could get a lot of learnings from kind of listening to kind of your experience and your advice. So thanks for being here today.
Awfully kind of you. As I was telling you, I'm woefully unprepared for this. I was just at the store all day, so my head is scrambled, and hopefully I have one remotely intelligent, worthwhile thing to say here. So
So why don't you just tell us a little bit about how you describe Pop Up Grocer and some of the history there?
Sure. So, Pop Up Grocer is a traveling showcase of the newest and most innovative products in the CPG space. And we roam the country, opening up for 30 days at a time in various cities and platform to those brands for exposure among largely an audience of just conscious consumers, people like me and you, also people in the industry, media, influencers, buyers, investors, people who can really make a difference in the future of their business.
Mm-hmm. And how long? So where have you run where have this manifested in the past?
So we've done two in New York, one in LA earlier this year, just before COVID hit, and then one just closed here in Austin this past Sunday.
That's great. Well, I'd love to talk to you about Austin and your experience and how it compares to what happened in LA and New York and the new ideas. Because I think, as I recall, you were about to go live and the crisis all hit. And I'm sure that forced you to rethink a few things. Have you, maybe we can start, have you got any images? Maybe you can show the audience what you created in Austin.
Sure. I mean, here's the real test. Let's see, guys, if I can do this. Share my screen. It's quite a challenge for me. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay. And I think Piers taught me how to do a slideshow. So let's see.
There you go.
Am I?
It's working great.
So this is the exterior floor, which we gave some more bold prominence. So I need to press play.
It's in downtown. It's in downtown, yeah? It was in downtown.
Yep. Oh, see, I knew I would fumble, and we practiced.
We're all with you. We're all supporting you. It's fine. The work is great. So let's enjoy it.
So this is the interior here. I've got a nice selfie mirror, which distance makes the heart grow fonder. Lots of people photographing themselves in their masks, which we require wearing in the store. And this is some of our selection here. Upon entry, we had hand sanitizer. We sanitized our baskets, so we let people know that there, and we let just 4 people in at a time.
That's great. So remind us, you said a lot of these products are like for conscious consumers. Can you just tell us a little bit about the kind of the range?
Yeah, did you want
one more time?
Do you want me to leave that up?
Yeah, it's there. It's striking. It's great. So, tell us a little bit about the types of products that you're selling there again.
So largely food and beverage products that are new to the market. Sometimes we launch them for the first time. They're space altogether, and then some home, pet, and body care products as well.
That's great. So maybe you can just take us through some insights about what was going on in your mind as you were trying to launch a store and you saw this kind of thunderstorm coming as well. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about what happened there.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be fully let into my emotional roller coaster.
Come
I didn't
on.
want to experience that. Yeah, I mean, coming to the decision to open amidst all of this was not easy. Everything was working against us. Uh, but ultimately, when I realized about what we offer beyond that I just named, it's really joy in the experience of discovery. And I just thought that if people could still have that, and especially knowing how important that is, and how much it maybe evoke some sense of normalcy for people, to feel happiness and joy again, that we should probably exist more than ever before. And we are an essential business as a grocery store. So fortunate position where there's no possibility of being shut down. And once we implemented some safety measures and I kind of wrapped my head around what that would look like and what that would mean, it became more manageable. And yeah, and ultimately we were able to see it through. So
Yeah. Was there a lot of in terms of physicality, did you do a lot of redesign, or was it a bit of shifting around? So what were some of the kind of practical things you
So
had to do?
usually in our space, we do encourage communal gathering. We have a community table with stools around it where you can sit and hang. We've got like a living room space with a couch. We've got sing. So, we encourage you to take your time. We encourage you to connect with other people there, have a meeting, whatever it is that you like. This was much more streamlined, so we removed all of those gathering elements. We implemented private appointments where your visit was really just 15 minutes long. Because we only allowed 4 people in at a time, we had a pretty steady line outside. So we were just moving people in and out, a bit more fluidly than in the past. And yeah, we had more of a rectangular sort of obvious traffic flow as well, where it was
Mhm.
just around, and we had markers to indicate that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think of your retail experience as a place of discovery. People picking objects up and putting them down and checking them out and things like that. Um, it must have been a challenge just kind of thinking through some of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, so, we sanitized everything. We had reduced product on the floor. We required people to use hand sanitizer upon entry, so everything, they
Hmm.
touched was remaining clean. And we sanitized the baskets, and yeah, operationally there were a lot of additional
Yeah.
elements.
How did you maintain a sort of kind of sense of fun and enjoyment and joy? Uh,
Yeah, worried about that. I mean, even just walking in and having masked employees, I worried people would feel a sense of fear and uncertainty that they're feeling at home. But you up the ante as far as customer service, as far as attending to people and giving them human interaction, which is not something that people came to our store. Like, this is the first time that I've been out of the house. And we really tried to respect that too by giving them, but offering them as much conversation as they wanted to have too, because I think people are without that sadly right now.
that's really insightful. Kind of like that's a nice learning point for all of us is thinking about where these people, our shoppers, our customers, our community have been for the last few months, and how we should respond to that. Even in the line outside, was there any special consideration or communication with the people, these people who are lining up to come to your store?
Yeah, so that's an additional staff member that we implemented, was someone to be jovial and educational, informative, for the people in line. They set expectations for what was going to be the experience inside the store. They offered beverage samples as well. So um, it's very hot here in Texas, so waiting in line is one thing, but waiting in line in the 95-degree heat is another thing. So we kept them hydrated, we kept them excited, and I think it really just added to the experience because they were already sort of on a good foot before they even entered our doors.
Was there any how are you managing expectations? Were these people already signed up to come to the store, or was there any social media kind of conversation around what to expect?
Yeah, I mean, the social media aspect was challenging this time, upfront about that. I mean, in addition to the national crisis of the coronavirus, we also had civil unrest, and
Mhm.
it wasn't appropriate to be pummeling people with information about groceries. We didn't have the desire to do that either. There were protests going on downtown. So, it's for a business that relies on a very short sprint of marketing, we were really worried that that would greatly impact traffic. But I think people are just really excited to get out of the house and really
Mhm.
excited to be in a space where they're feeling happy, but also where they can actually buy the things. It's like the lipstick effect. It's like a bag of chips is kind of a luxury. A bag of chips is a luxury item right now that you can actually afford.
Uh,
Um,
did you,
so
in terms of the conversation around inclusivity and justice, were you able to respond to that, or do you already have that in your company? I mean, I guess, you had already spent all this time planning, and you were already open, and suddenly these things were happening around you. Were you able to respond, or would you have any advice to anybody about how to kind of embrace or interact with that?
Yeah, I mean, we giving back is a part of as an element of our business model and has been since we began. So with each store, we give 5% of our in-store sales to a charity that we usually crowdsource from the local community. So in the past, we've given to Lower East Side Girls Club in New York, or in LA, we gave to the Wildfire Relief Fund. So this time, the 5% that we gave, we didn't crowdsource because we just knew we had to give it to something that was COVID related. And it went to an organization called Altogether Austin, and they support those disproportionately affected by the virus. So
Mhm.
so that was already set up. But yeah, I mean, as far as advice, like just transparency and honesty. And for us, again, it was quite difficult because we really want to acknowledge something and then just keep going about business as usual. And at the same time, we have this very short period where we have to promote our event. So I'm looking forward to kind of returning to some of those communication points that we really want to make sure we've spoken to moving forward.
Well, I think, you've had this kind of pretty rare experience of kind of running retail during this time. There's a whole bunch of people in our community who've had to close stores, have not had to kind of deal with this yet. Um, as you think about what your next plans are, I think so you're thinking about even coming back to New York. How are you going to do things differently? Uh, what did you learn? What are the kind of the good things that kind of you learned out of this experience, and how will you adjust in New York?
Yeah. So our store traffic altogether for the store was about equal to, slightly greater than our store in LA, actually. And our sales were a lot stronger. So each person that visited, like our basket size was a lot larger. So each person that visited spent a lot more. And I really attribute that to the private appointments. So not just because of sales, because that's really not our objective as a business. It's about brand awareness and exposure and but I think giving people the opportunity to come with more intent and more commitment and thus be more engaged. And on the opposite end of that, for us to be prepared with personal recommendations according to dietary restrictions or allergies, etc., just makes for a more customized experience. So I think that's something that will carry through. I don't know what a post-COVID world is or if that exists, but
Mhm.
for the foreseeable future for us, I think we're going to continue with that. Definitely in our opening in New York, probably reduced in-store capacity as well.
Yeah, I mean, you seem to echo an earlier point about this kind of human connection and engagement with the community, where it's and probably that you therefore need to think about your staffing or invest in your staffing as much as the products range.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a great time to employ wonderful as there are so many people far more qualified
Mm.
available to us, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm
that's
grateful
great.
for that.
And then, I see if there are any questions on the chat, but what's the future plan for Pop Up Grocer? Are you looking for partners? Are you looking for distribution? Are you looking to go international? What
All of the
next?
things.
Yeah.
I mean, we launched e-com during this time, so we have boxes now that are a selection of items from the store that's live at that time. So moving forward, we're going to continue with some of our Austin selection for a while, and then we'll start to distribute that from New York. So we're going to evolve that into a subscription and really grow that aspect of the business alongside these pop-ups. And that's kind of always been the plan. It's something that was just accelerated as a result of all of this. But yeah, world domination, sure, I'm down
Yeah.
for it.
Well, I'd
Yeah,
love
we
to
get calls
help.
all the time from the UK specifically, so I'm hoping we can go to London soon.
London. I'd like to go back to London. Go to the pub. Deep Asher asks, how do we list a brand with Pop Up Grocer? How do they lobby you to get to be considered?
Yeah, we love to be lobbied. You can email hi@popupgrocer.co, or you can go to our website and enter the information on the submission form there. The three things we look for are you doing something interesting, new, novel? If it's a product, does it meet a certain set of nutrition and ingredient standards? And then three, does it look pretty?
Does it look pretty? That sounds very subjective. Okay, that's wonderful. Emily, you are a true pioneer. It's been exciting to kind of follow your journey. I've known you for much longer, and so it's been great just kind of follow your career, how you've always been an innovator, and now you've kind of taken your responsibility. And it's obviously not difficult just to run your own business as it is, but to be able to kind of soldier on and do this is an inspiration for myself, and I'm sure for everybody who's watching. So Emily
Well,
Schildt
thank
of Pop Up
you.
Grocer, thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me.